If you are thinking about moving to Palm Harbor, Florida, then you are likely trying to figure out the best neighborhoods for you, alongside with things like how do you navigate traffic and how do you make sure you establish yourself in the area that matches your lifestyle. And so in this video, we're breaking down everything you need to know about the map and what all to expect when it comes to moving to Palm Harbor in general. And we're doing that by breaking everything down into 4 zones. Zone 1 is going to be your coastal zone, and this is everything west of alternate 19, which is the road right here, also known as Palm Harbor Boulevard. Zone 2 is the area between Palm Harbor Boulevard and US 19, which is our main highway in Palm Harbor. And this is really going to be the area situated around Palm Harbor University High School, which is the main school and a top reason why people choose to live in Palm Harbor. Zone 2 is going to be the area east of here, and this really is a hidden gem for folks looking to move to Tampa Bay. They want to be in an area that's easy to commute to, but they also want to be in a good, affordable neighborhood that's going to continue to appreciate for years to come. I'm talking homes here between 300 and 400K. You can even find homes within a pool, within that budget, which is really, really exceptional. And so we'll talk about that area. Our final area that we're going to talk about is the area on the other side of Lake Tarpon, which is the East Lake Lansbrook area. This area is really going to be extremely established, extremely suburban. So we're going to go over everything and basically talk about everything you need to know to weigh out all the pros and cons. My goal by the end of this video is that you can successfully choose one of these zones. If Palm Harbor is the spot for you, by the end of this video, you're able to say, okay, I know which of these zones matches my lifestyle and which of these zones I need to hone in on to find that ideal home and that ideal lifestyle. Okay, let's start by talking about the part west of alternate 19, also known as Palm Harbor Boulevard. And really here there are 3 options for you. There's Baywood Village, there's Crystal Beach, and there is the Ozona area. And really what I want you guys to know here in areas like Crystal Beach is what makes spots like this so special to a lot of the relocation clients I have. When I show them these spots, what they tend to love is just how in and around the Pinellas Trail these 3 coastal neighborhoods are. Like the Pinellas Trail literally weaves through some of them, because in a lot of the area the Pinellas Trail is just kind of going along alternate 19, but here it actually shoots off and weaves through, so that in some of these houses you can literally, like I'll drop a pin right here for example, where at the end of the road here they've got a little way so that you can get right onto the trail. And a lot of the houses along in Crystal Beach do this. Here, I'll show you guys another one right here. And what's really cool about this spot is you're going to see a lot more of that coastal, because this area did flood. Here, you hop right on the trail right there. But this area did see a lot of flooding. This is going to be a coastal zone, with most of Crystal Beach, Ozona, and these neighborhoods being in that coastal flood zone and really hyper coastal towns. You are going to most likely see a lot of friction when it comes to insurance and flood zones. And so being in a home that's well prepared for that is really an added benefit. So choosing a home that is elevated so that you don't have to deal with a lot of the issues that come with having to navigate living in a flood zone with a single story home. And so being in an elevated home is huge here. From a price point perspective though, really you can expect to pay $450 for a home on the lower end here, and that's probably going to be something that needs a lot of updating. Or you can get something that is move-in ready, maybe not necessarily on the water, but the prices here do tend to go up to that $1 million price point if you want something nice, and then you can expect to spend over $1 million if you want something on the water with water access. Okay, for our next zone, we're going to talk about the area between Palm Harbor Boulevard and US 19, and this area is pretty cool because it's really the area that's situated around Palm Harbor University High School. And what you notice is a lot of the people moving here, they want established suburbs. They want to be in an area that is established. They don't necessarily want to be in a touristy area or a coastal area. They don't want a flood zone. They want to have a home that has a pool, has 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. And so for a lot of those people, this area tends to be a top spot. One, because overall it is higher and not in a flood zone. And I'll show you what I mean. Most of Palm Harbor is not in a flood zone. And what's nice is when you get on the other side of alternate 19, aka Palm Harbor Boulevard, that's really where you don't really have to worry about flood zones. Now, with that being said, a reason people like Palm Harbor is Curlew Road is really the main divider between Palm Harbor and Dunedin. North of Curlew Road, that's Palm Harbor. Now, what's awesome is even if you are in Palm Harbor, you can still take advantage of all the things that come with being near Dunedin, being near the Causeway, being near the Pinellas Trail, which makes Palm Harbor a top spot. Because if you want the Palm Harbor schools, if you want Palm Harbor University High School, then to guarantee that being a reality, you need to be in Palm Harbor. But You're not sacrificing the Dunedin and coastal lifestyle to do so. My name is Aaron Chand, and me and my wife Aubrey make these videos for people just like you that are looking to relocate. We put these videos out every Wednesday, and our goal here is to just make them as helpful as possible and to provide the resources and the information that we found, having helped over 40 families relocate and buy homes in the Tampa Bay area in the last couple years. We know just what it's like to go through this process because we've walked through countless people go through it time and time again. And so if that's you, reach out to us on the number on the screen, no matter where you're at, whether you're 2 years out, whether you're 1 year out, whether you're here next week. We are looking forward to hearing from you because truly this is what we're passionate about. We love helping people, and I promise you that after a 5-minute call with me and Aubrey, you will feel so much better. We will help put together a strategy of exactly what you need to do to make your entire relocation process so easy. So if that's you, I'm going to put my number on the screen. Feel free to text or call this number. You can also email us. That's also on the screen. Okay, so this one, 3-2, private, 2,000 square feet, sold $645. It does have a pool. It's a nice home. Looks like well updated, move-in ready. It's got new doors. So this is a good, accurate representation of what to expect in Palm Harbor. Not really as competitive as spots like Dunedin. It does get competitive here. Like, for instance, there were 168 recent sales in the past 90 days. But if I go back and look at how many homes sold between 0 and 14 days, 52 of the 168 homes sold within 2 weeks. And so what that looks like is this. These are all the homes that are really popular ones that are going quickly. Like here's a 3-2, 6 days, 525, but no pool. That being said, if this home has more than enough space for a pool, so you're still under 600,000 even if you want to put in your own pool. And this is still a nice home, and square footage wise, it does stack up to that other one. Now, I'm getting off track. What I really want you guys to pay attention to is a lot of these homes, they're not in a flood zone. They have pools, they have yards, they have space. They're in that Palm Harbor University High School school district, and they are near the Pinellas Trail. They're biking distance to the Pinellas Trail. They're biking distance to the Causeway. You're still getting that coastal lifestyle, and really that's what separates West US 19 from East US 19, which is really why I wanted to highlight this area as Zone 2, because Zone 1, that's going to be the coastal area. You're very much living the coastal life. In Zone 2, which is the area between Alter 19 and US 19, we are getting away from that coastal life. We don't want to deal with flood zones. We're not dealing with flood zones. We're in Flood Zone X. We are close to things like Palm Harbor University High School, but we're still really close to that coastal lifestyle. Okay, let's talk about the east side of US 19, and really this is a hidden gem because it is extremely affordable. The value you get for what you are getting being in a non-flood zone, in a good school district, you get a lot being on the east side of US 19 for the amount you are paying. And what I mean by that is, yes, you're not necessarily close to the coast, you're not necessarily close to any really busy downtown areas, but what you are is you are in a great spot for having to commute to everywhere. And so I'm going to talk about 2 stories of 2 families we helped move to this area last year and why they chose this area. And the first family that moved to this area, they're already living here, and they wanted to buy something that there was their first home. They wanted to buy something though that they could fix up. It was a home that was well maintained, but cosmetically it needed updating. What I call these granny flips. And that's what me and my wife bought. We bought a granny flip, and I call that a home that she took like our home. She took flawless care of it, but the carpet was pink. And that was for me no problem because she updated all the windows, but yeah, I had to swap the carpet. Not a problem. If you weigh out the cost difference between what it costed her to replace the windows versus what it costed me to spend time ripping up the carpet and getting the tile put in, it is vastly different. And so the granny flips are great options. And so what I mean by that is you will find a lot of homes here for like 300, 400,000 that are primed and ready to be completely updated. Like here's one for 425, which is a good price for Palm Harbor. Now on the inside, yeah, it does need updating. Like, it is dated, it is old, but overall it looks clean, it looks well taken care of. And this is really for a lot of home buyers, for a lot of first-time home buyers, for a lot of really handy home buyers, this is a dream come true, because this is something that is so easy for them to do. They can vision it, they can design it. It's a fresh, clean slate. And so for a lot of people, this is a good option, and you can find these on the east side of US 19. And so that was the first story. We helped them. They were both in roofing, and so for them, flipping that house was super, super easy, and they live in it, and they love it. The other family that we helped, she worked in St. Pete, and he worked in downtown Tampa, and they also had children, and so there was a lot of having to commute and having to drive around. That being said, they had younger children, so being near Palm Harbor University High School wasn't necessarily super advantageous for them. And so schools wasn't really an issue either. It really was about finding an area that was going to give them the home they wanted, given that, we want to be within 500,000, still have space, not feel crammed in, have a yard, have all those things. And for them, really, the Lake St. George area is where we ended up. And we ended up at a home around 45,000. But what's nice is it was completely done and ready to move in, and for them this was perfect, because commute wise, this ended up being, and we looked at everything. We looked at all Clearwater, we looked at South Tampa, we looked at St. Pete, but really when you weighed out which area was going to be the most convenient for having to drive a lot, having to really live in Florida, it ended up that the east side of US 19 was great. And here, I'll show you guys what I mean by that by just putting this in, and we'll do a bit of commuting here so you can see. We'll go downtown Tampa so you can just see how far it is. And let's go car options. And I don't know what is wrong with my Wi-Fi today, guys, but it is crazy. Okay, sorry about that. So it's actually rush hour right now, which is perfect. It is 4:30 p.m. So this is perfect timing, but we can actually look at what the commutes are going to be. So from Lake St. George to downtown Tampa, it's 47 minutes. You're driving through the bulk end of the traffic in Tampa, but not too bad. 47 minutes from Lake St. George to downtown St. Pete. Not bad either. It's probably going to be roughly the same. Yeah, 36 to 40 minutes. So this spot is a really good spot for getting away from flood zones, for finding more suburban style homes in established communities. The reason the prices are lower, I think it is because I would probably say because it is trickier to find layouts in this area that work for bigger families, and it's harder to find bigger layouts in these areas as well. But that being said, there are neighborhoods like Cobb's Landing, which are extremely popular and extremely nice and extremely established, that people love. And so there are options for really everyone on the east side of US 19, but really the things to keep in mind are it just feels a lot longer going to the beach when you are on the east side of 19. Things to keep in mind around Lake Tarpon. Lake Tarpon is beautiful, but there are not really many public parks on this side to access Lake Tarpon. Really the main public park to access Lake Tarpon is on the east side of Lake Tarpon, and that is John Chestnut Park. Talking about the east side of Tarpon, this is the area of East Lake, which can get confusing because this technically is Palm Harbor, but technically really this is all unincorporated Pinellas County. But the main difference to keep in mind here is on this side in East Lake, you are zoned for East Lake High School and not Palm Harbor University High School. Now, if you are in the other zones, you can get rezoned for even Palm Harbor University High School, like happened with my sister-in-law, which Aubrey has a whole video on that, and she's much better at explaining it than I am. But the main thing you need to keep in mind is that's really something that you can only do with 100% certainty after you move here. And the reason I say that is because it's not guaranteed that you get in. And so if you want to guarantee that you are going to get into the Palm Harbor University High School, then making sure you are buying in an area that's zoned for that school is the only way to really guarantee that. Everything else you hear is really just, yes, there are ways to get into it without being in that school zone, but there are added risks, and it's not so black and white. When it comes to the east side of Lake Tarpon, what I really want you guys to notice here is this is where you really get some super, super established neighborhoods. I'm talking tons of mature trees. Like there is one stretch here in Lansbrook, which is like, oh my gosh, it's like a movie. Yeah, here we go, where there's just all these mature trees just going. So if this is you, if kind of being a more master planned, a suburban lifestyle is you, but also having some privacy, also having some space, also feeling like you're out of the town is an added plus, then this area is great for you. This area is also perfect for you if you love Palm Harbor, you love being in the suburbs, you love the location of being near Tampa, being near St. Pete, kind of being near everything, but being near the coast and being near the beach is not necessarily though like a huge priority. Then this area is a great spot. I've noticed that a lot of people that are like their roots are in Tampa Bay live in this area. I don't know why. It feels like my mom grew up in Lansbrook. Like, it's crazy. So this area does have a lot of that. And that being said, but it is still a great spot. The only really negative thing I would have to say about Eastlake, and this is because I live in Trinity and I have to deal with this, is Eastlake Road is just horrible when it comes to traffic because it's not very wide at all. And there are a lot of people that are living in Trinity now, living in Newport Richey, especially with them. They're building that 800 sports complex here, 800-acre sports complex here. They're building Longleaf here. They're building Newport Corners right here. That's 5,000 homes. So that's a lot of traffic that's going to continue to get built up on Eastlake Road. And that is the main con with Eastlake, I would say, is the traffic. It's just brutal. And there's no way to like cut across. So like if you miss Keystone, for example, you just got to ride Eastlake the whole way because you can't cut across Lake Tarpon. Because sometimes it's like, oh, traffic is bad. Let me cut across to US 19, see if it's bad there. But you don't. Once you get past Keystone, you just gotta take that ride, man. And that is something that is not the most fun, and probably a reason people are preferring areas like West Chase or even new construction communities like Victoria Lakes over on the Tampa side. But that is Hillsborough County, not Pinellas County. Eastlake is really the last area of Pinellas County going east and going north. Anyhow, I hope that video was super helpful for you guys. Really, in terms of price points and real estate, I would expect lower prices on the Eastlake side from the Palm Harbor side, but really in terms of what you can get, it's going to be more or less the same. If you want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath plus house with a pool and a big yard, this really is a good spot for wanting that, but not wanting to be over 20 minutes away from the beach. And that's a lot of the people, almost everybody that I know that relocated Palm Harbor. For a lot of them, that was the main thing, is they wanted to not have to compromise on their home and not have to compromise on being far away from the water either. And that's how we ended up in Palm Harbor. That, in addition to Palm Harbor University High School being a top pick for a lot of folks, is why a lot of our relocation clients chose Palm Harbor. But hope that was super, super helpful. If you have more questions about schools, Dunedin and Clearwater, and kind of more information about that, we actually have a super in-depth video where we go over more about schools, hurricanes, flood zones, insurance, stuff like that. I'll put a link to that here. But like and subscribe. We put out these videos every week for folks like you looking to relocate to the Tampa Bay area. If you like this video, definitely hit that notification bell. Every week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, we're putting out these videos, and we're trying to pack them full of as much value as possible. So that's it for today.